What's going on, everybody? We're back with another super special guest. Today's guest is an amateur mixed martial arts fighter. He is currently the amateur featherweight champion for Art of War, a regional MMA promotion based out of Pennsylvania. Our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, Francis, the Praying Mantis Travelli. Hey, Francis. First off, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing I want to get into is people watching this might wonder why there's a praying mantis as the background right now. For the people that don't know, your nickname for fighting is the praying mantis. Where does that come from?
So it's actually funny. My dad, you know the Biggie song? In the Biggie song, he says Francis the Praying Mantis. So my
Oh,
dad was like, "That you should do that for your nickname." And for every time I hear it, I laugh. Like even when I'm getting ready to fight and I hear the announcers announce my name, I'm like, it's funny because I don't know, it just. But yeah, that's where it came from. It came from a song, and
oh,
my dad was
interesting.
like, "You should do it," and I was like, "All right." I don't have a nickname, so I'll do it. Might as well do
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's just funny 'cause a lot of the fighters, have like a tough, like the pit bull or the
it. Yeah.
rampage or whatever. And you're just the praying mantis. I love that. I thought it might have came from like you're kind of lanky, like tall, long for the
Oh
weight,
wait.
kind of look like,
Yeah.
not look like it, but that body
I know
type.
what you mean. I know what you mean. I know
Yeah,
what you mean.
so that's super cool. But
Yeah.
just what first got you into combat sports, martial arts from the beginning?
So my uncle, you know Ricardo Miglioris?
Yeah, the name is familiar for sure.
Yeah, so he's my uncle. So I've been doing jujitsu since pretty much I was born. Like
Mm,
I was kind of born into jujitsu, like just training. I didn't really get serious about it until like high school, like
mm,
14, 15 is when I started going and like taking it serious, wanting to get into competition.
mm,
Um, but I've been doing it forever, for
yeah,
as long as I can remember. I've been doing it on and off, and then really got serious about it like around high school.
yeah, yeah. And then when you when you did start taking it more seriously and you thought about competing, was it like, oh, just jujitsu, or did you know you want to fight back then too?
So like in the beginning, I was just fine with like doing jujitsu. The goal was to like open up a gym with my brothers when we obviously got older and were able to do that. But then around like my junior senior year in high school, I was like, you know what? I started getting into UFC around then because that was like around COVID, so that was the only thing that was on. And I was
Hmm.
like, you know what? Like, I don't know. I believe that I could do it. I believe that I can make it to the highest level that there is. So I was just like, yeah, I talked to my uncle about it. I was like, what do you think about it? And he just said, as if you train seriously and you take it serious, then we'll do it. So I was in the gym every day training. And then
Hmm.
once he felt like I was ready and I felt like I was ready, we scheduled that first fight. And it's funny
Yeah.
though, because like when like the week before when like I'm getting ready for the weigh-ins, I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to do this.
Hmm.
This is horrible. And then right after the fight, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get back in there.
When you are super young, you're only 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were first started kind of watching UFC and were into, who were some of your guys or girls?
My boy is Charles Oliveira. That's my number
Mm,
one dude. The
okay.
jujitsu, just everything. That's my
Mhm.
guy. I like Max Holloway, and I really like Sean O'Malley's style. Like when I
Mm,
train and when I spar, like my striking, I try to take a lot of the things from his game because his feinting is like really good
yeah.
and like the way he sets things up. So I try to take a lot from like what he does on the feet.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. When you win that featherweight amateur title, the initially, what did that moment mean for you? How special was that?
Um, it was not. It was definitely like I look at it as it's a really big accomplishment considering I just started fighting last September, so I've only been fighting for a year.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, my goal is to make it to the big stage, make it to the UFC. So it's a moment where I'm like, all right, that's cool, but
mm-hmm.
I'm ready to go on to the next, start working towards that pro debut, start working towards a belt in whatever promotion I'm fighting in, and then obviously looking to get on either the contender series or whatever way I find my way onto the UFC. That's the ultimate goal. But obviously, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I got and the chance I got to fight for the belt, especially only being 2-1 at the time and like not really having that experience and like a bunch of fights under my belt. But I knew I was ready for it. You know, my uncle knew I was ready for it. All my
Mhm.
coaches and teammates, they believed that I was ready for it, and so we took the opportunity and got it done.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. And then did you celebrate it all? I know, like we said, you're only 20, but did you celebrate after that
yeah,
first?
yeah. I think the next day was actually I want to say it was 299 UFC 299. So I think me and my friends, we got together and we watched that. I think it was 299. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this last fight, Art of War 37, October 4, you go in, defend that title for the first time. Just break down that fight itself. Like, is that kind of how you expected? And
Um,
what that look like for you?
so it was tough. It wasn't tougher than I thought it was going to be. I knew the guy was going to be tough. You know, he was.
What's going on, folks? I hope you are loving this interview so far. This particular video, at a glance, is only about 25% or a quarter of the full length episode we had with Francis. If you want to watch the full length episode where he goes on to describe his last fight in great detail, we talk about a ton of other things. He predicts UFC 308, Ilya versus Holloway, bunch of stuff. You want to head over to Apples and Grapes Media, the channel, if you're not already there. Scroll down just a little bit. Championship Harvest, episode number 23 with Francis. Thank you. Peace.